Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Auto Central show brought to you proudly by Auto Trader, South Africa's #1 motoring podcast powered by Auto Trader. And I have none other than Wandile Sishi in the studio with me today. Hey, Wandi.
I'm actually in the house this time. It's the first time I've seen another human being, and I'm just so happy just to see your face, George.
I am absolutely thrilled to see your face, Wandi. So we have this glass between us. So
yeah, it reminds me of the time when I had to go and bail my friend out. So yeah, don't tell anyone.
Bail your friend out. You know this is a podcast, right?
There. Yeah, no, it's off the record.
Oh goodness. Okay, I wonder. Well, maybe they won't find it on Apple.
I hope nobody finds it. My mom, if you're watching this, that never happened. I was just saying that for dramatic effect. Nobody was bailed out of anyway.
Exactly. You don't know anything. Well, we have this screen between us, which is good practice, and masks down there and all that stuff. But it's good to be in the studio.
It is, yeah.
Finally, been doing this on a video recording up to now.
Yeah, and my voice, I hope, sounds better now. Like, I think a lot of people have been complaining, but now the sound's better. So
exactly, you don't have those little earpods and stuff. Anyway, I'm your host, George Mini, and as we were talking about, this is Wandile Sishi sitting opposite me, and hopefully one day we can talk about some exciting Formula One news, because right now it's a bit of a procession.
Well, depending on who you support, you may think so. I'm loving it. Like, this is the time of my life right now.
Well, it's because your man's winning.
Yeah, he is. He's going to get the 7. I can really feel it. And we've had some really interesting races. A lot of people are not so happy with how things have gone, but I think the change of the different tracks and stuff has really given us a brand new sort of take on, can these drivers drive, or do they just know the tracks really well? So,
yeah. I suppose that's always the thing, Is it the driver? Is it the car? Is it the track? But hopefully it's a driver's championship as much as it is a constructor's championship. So if you happen to miss the live broadcast of our podcast, you can always catch up by visiting our YouTube channel at youtube.com/AutoTraderSA. And getting right into things, now with COVID-19, Wendy, how do we go about buying a car? What do you look out for? Because we know that new car sales in South Africa have dropped significantly by about 30% year on year. And COVID-19 has caused the research that we did to say that 58% of consumers are actually holding back or holding off on buying a car. And consumers are very skeptical in the buying process. So let's talk a little bit about what that buying process is and how people buy cars today. And, what is your view on how consumers should buy cars?
So, I think we're in level 1 now, right? And I think a lot of, we've had months of practice, and I think dealerships have even had a little bit longer than some other spaces.
Yeah.
So I think it's not that much more different from, going to buy, tea bags or whatever from the store.
Tea bags.
Tea bags. I don't drink.
Are you comparing a car to tea?
I'm not comparing a car to tea. I'm just saying it's kind of the same process. It's not like very much different. I remember when dealerships could open, a lot of the dealerships that we had spoken to, were doing, going to earth and beyond, not just what the government was saying, but going much further than they were required to. Because safety, not just for themselves but for the consumers, is key to them.
The dealerships I visited, hand sanitizers at the entrance, taking your temperature. Is it a requirement still to take temperature at an entrance?
I've in my personal experience, I'm not sure if it is a requirement, but there are
under level 1.
And I'm not sure. I can't honestly say that it is a requirement. I don't want to get anybody in trouble because I don't know for fact. But I would see
like the bailout scenario.
So that was our little secret. Come on. But yeah, I actually had a friend who came to me and said, "Hey, Wendy, like, how do we? I want to get a new car because I'm scared.
Yeah.
I don't want to take public transport. What's the process? What do I do?" And I told him it's kind of the same thing as everything else. As long as you're safe, I promise you the dealership's going to do whatever they can to keep you safe and themselves. So.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen, there's home deliveries happening.
Yeah.
Dealerships are sanitizing the cars frequently after every test drive.
Exactly.
They've, like you said, they've had practice during level 5, 4, 3, 2.
And now 1. Yeah.
Are we on 1 or naught? 1. Yes,
One,
we're on 1. Okay. Is there a naught?
What is naught? Naught's probably
No lockdown.
No lockdown, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm swear that's probably gonna happen in like January or something. It's not gonna happen anytime soon. That's my prediction.
Well, I mean, the government has to extend the state of disaster every 30 days, don't they?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
and then I wonder what can that be indefinite?
Who knows? How long are we going to be in this scenario? Right? It's like it's kind of hard to tell.
Yeah.
But who knows? But yeah, I think definitely if you're looking to buy a car, you shouldn't be too like scared or skeptical that something might happen. Or you might get the virus. I think people are doing everything they can to keep you safe, and you should just do the same. There's a large part of the responsibilities on you.
Well, I mean, we were speaking before the start of the show today about millennials and how they are changing their behavior because coming into COVID-19, we always spoke about millennials, taking on self-driving, waiting for self-driving cars, not worried. I mean, you're a millennial, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not too worried about buying a car, owning a car. You guys don't really care about owning a car. It's more about the transport from one place to another.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Wendy's a little bit different in that you're
love cars.
a bit of a car fan. Yeah. But what's happening now with millennials and their habits and their changes?
So it's actually a really funny story. I came across a story where the headline was "Millennials are buying COVID cars," right? And I was
I don't understand. Millennials are buying COVID cars.
Yeah, right. Like, so you're thinking, are these cars like loaded with like
COVID?
Coronavirus? Like, what's going on? But it turns out no. A lot of people, specifically millennials, are seeing cars and vehicles as like this ultimate like protective suit or ultimate PPE device, essentially. And because I think millennials specifically, they don't want to stay at home. They don't want to stop doing that. They still want to be active in a safe way. And a car kind of solves or ticks all these boxes. Think of it as like sharing a scuba tank. If you're going on public transport or like an e-hailing service, it's like sharing a scuba tank. And you would hate to do that in the first place. So a car kind of lets you go hiking, lets you go and do the things that you would normally do, but you're safe. You're a little bit safer. So before we saw that millennials weren't buying cars at all. They were just using these e-hailing services, but now they have to. Yeah. It's kind of the best marketing for cars.
I suppose. I mean, you put it well there, which is a PPE device. PPE, personal protective equipment. And when you're in your car, you're pretty much safe. The only thing that people have to do is probably buy a Tesla because it has some apocalypse filter.
It filters the air or whatever. Right? Like that's the only safer way you can do it. Cars kind of tick the boxes, whether we like it or not. You always say it, that South Africans love to drive. We love driving, not just because like we just like driving, but it's just an easy way to get around and still be safe. So that's the kind of the phenomenon that people are seeing now, is that these millennials just want these COVID cars really badly.
So if you're a millennial or not a millennial, or anybody for that matter, what do you need to consider when buying a car today, especially during COVID-19 times and probably into the foreseeable future? And spending what you can afford is one suggestion I have. Don't overspend. Car's a luxury item. Your home is a necessity, but sometimes people go over the top and they buy what they can't afford. What other advice would you have for people buying cars today?
I mean, we've had this discussion a few times, right? Because it's buying a car is not as simple as buying a tea bag. I'm gonna bring it back to that.
Freaking tea bag.
There's so many things you need to consider. The main thing being affordability, like you just said, but there's other things like maintenance. And when you buy, especially if you're buying a used car, you need to ensure or make sure that you've done all your checks.
Yeah.
Has this car, had all of its services in time? Is there any mechanical issues with it? The tires that you're about to drive off the dealership with okay? And you have the right to ask these questions.
Exactly.
You can ask and say, hey guys, like, give me the paperwork, give me the certification, give me the
service history. Yeah, the service history. I mean, I suppose every car has a price, has a value, and the price goes up and down depending on either defects on the car or the car's in perfect nick. And I suppose you would expect to pay full retail for a car if everything is a hunky-dory with that car, if it's got all of its service records, if it's and it can be proven. And I mean, most dealerships today have a network that they work within, which means that the dealership can check on the service history or the service records. So that's one thing. I think that's good advice. Check on the service records and the history of the car. But what about stolen vehicles? How do you check on a stolen vehicle? How do you know that a vehicle's not stolen? An unsuspecting person might be selling a car that they don't even know is stolen. How do you check?
Well, I think there's a few things you can do. So one of the things, first and foremost, the best kind of cure to anything is prevention. So don't go to like your Tom, Dick and Harry, like who lives down the road, who's like, hey, I have like this GTI, do you want it? No.
Oh, that's Harry.
Yeah, actually go to a reputable dealership. Most dealerships are actually reputable. Most of them have their papers and stuff, so it wouldn't be hard for you to find that. But on top of that, I think it's you can go to the post office or the license department to check if a car, using the VIN number, if it's been stolen.
I don't think the post office. I think they might be a bit slow there with checking. They'll have to send a letter to
or pigeon or something. Yeah.
But no, I phone up the licensing department, right?
Yeah, I phone up the licensing department. They'll be able to, because their systems are linked to the SAPs, and whenever there's a car of interest or a car that's been stolen, they kind of record all that information.
Yeah.
And that's something that you need to do as well. You never know. Even at a reputable dealership, just do your checks. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt.
Check. I suppose that's the message. And you can check with the VIN number. You can check a couple of things with the licensing department. And there's a few places you can go as well to check out a little bit more on the car, like vehiclecheck.co.za, which is part of Auto Trader's stable of products, Vehicle Check, and it gives you a little bit of information around the history and whether the car is legitimate in terms of its color, make, model, variant, etc. So vehiclecheck.co.za is one, and then do a DECRA check. DECRA is a reputable place, and you can do a DECRA check on a car, which will also be an electronic check. So they plug their diagnostic machines into the car, and you can check the car out.
I bought the car I'm currently driving like a year and a half ago, and most dealerships, it's part of they kind of, the added value that they give to you is they do it for you. If everyone says I'm not going to do it for you, or they don't insist on doing a DECRA check or try to sell your car without doing these checks, that's a flag.
Yeah.
So just, do the check, ask.
I would say take someone that knows about cars with you.
Yeah. Whenever we speak to Martin or Lawrence, it's always like mind blowing the stuff they can tell you.
Yeah.
Just because they know.
There's got to be someone in your family, right, that knows a bit about cars.
It must be, yeah.
And DECRA can also check for accidents. They can check the body panels, overspray. That's always one thing that I look for is if you open up the bonnet, open up the doors, and you look in the joins of the car.
Yeah.
Especially in the bonnet. It's very difficult for a panel beater to repair a front end crash without it being noticed. And the reason is because in order to not get overspray, you have to cover up every solitary little thing.
Yeah, it would be very hard.
It's hard. It's hard to not have a little bit of overspray. And color matching is also a difficult one.
Thing to do, yeah.
So sometimes you can't see the color difference until and the overspray is comes about with those. I don't know if you've seen those little dots.
Yeah,
You
those
can see
little microdots.
microdots. They're all over the place.
Yeah, I've seen that. Something that I think I've noticed, or a lot of people actually tell me about, is the mileage. The mileage history on a car
Yeah.
is so hard.
What do you mean mileage history?
Checking is, when you look on the dash and it says 100 or it says 50.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the car's done like 100.
Turning the mileage
dial.
back.
Yeah,
Well, the way to check on that is to get the service records from the dealership.
Okay.
From the franchise dealer that when it was under warranty. Or to at least ask them to confirm, is the mileage of this car accurate or not?
Yeah, because it has such a huge impact on the price you pay.
Yes.
You're thinking you can get you're getting a 40,000.
You might be getting a used tea bag.
Yeah. Basically getting a used tea bag. Yeah. So you just check these things, ask. And the dealership, most of them, they want to help you. They're not gonna.
Reputable dealers are very open to helping.
Yeah. They want to make a sale. So if this is not the right car for you, maybe this one.
Well, speaking about buying cars, one of the most popular cars in South Africa, and one of my favorites, as a matter of fact, is the Porsche 911. And one of our journalists did a review on the Porsche 911 not so long ago. And Sean Nurse is going to join us in a second. And Sean, fortunately, got to drive this Porsche 911.
Yeah.
Which
I'm so jealous.
I'm super, super jealous. Sean reviewed this 911 a little while ago, and we got him on the call all the way from. How's it, Sean? How are you?
Very good, thanks. And you, George?
Very, very good. Where are you calling us from?
From the East Rand. I stay in Benoni.
Okay, from the East Rand. There we go. So Porsche 911 is what you reviewed. The Carrera T, to be exact. And tell us, is this car worth buying? Is it worth buying?
Yeah, I think so. At this stage of that vehicle's product cycle, it's actually the previous generation Porsche 911. The new 992 variant is out, but Porsche gave us this particular vehicle to review for Auto Trader because they wanted us to drive a vehicle that forms part of their driver's car pillar. They've got 3 pillars, one which includes the driver's cars. The second one includes cars like the Cayenne and Panamera. And then the third pillar is their most recent one, which is the electrification and future mobility with things like the Taycan. So this is just to give us an idea of what their driver's cars are all about.
Oh, wow. And, what is this? What is the T about? Why are they calling it the T?
So the T harks back to the 60s when Porsche was very dominant at the Monte Carlo Rally. There was a 911 T back then. So they decided to revive this badge in 2018 by releasing the T variant. It slots in between the standard Carrera and the Carrera S. It basically gets some specification options from the Carrera S, like the adaptive suspension, the limited slip differential, and the 20-inch wheels. But being a T, you also have the option of having less in the car. So you can specify the car without rear seats, without the infotainment system, without air conditioning. And it's also got thinner rear glass so that you can hear the exhaust a little bit more. That being said, our test car did have all of those things specified. So I had aircon, and thankfully, and I had rear seats, and I had the infotainment system. But it's all about weight saving, I suppose.
Okay, I was going to say, why would you want to buy a car without air conditioning?
Yeah.
In this country, it makes no sense. I think the guys in the UK, I have seen a few reviews of guys that are driving cars without aircon. I think that would be crazy in South Africa.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, there's this belief that you switch the aircon off, you can save fuel and rather open the windows. But I've got the opposite belief. I think it creates more drag.
Yeah, absolutely. I think air conditioning is great, especially if you're driving a luxury product like this. And I mean, if you are doing track driving, I think just turn the air conditioning off for those few laps, and then in your cool down lap, at least you can have some air conditioning, right? It's not a race car.
Exactly.
I don't know. Hey, my girlfriend, her car, when you turn off the aircon, you go a little bit faster. Because I don't know.
Is it a tea bag?
It's a tea bag. It's a tea bag. So yeah, maybe that's the theory here. They're just trying to get 5 extra horsepowers.
Well, out of a Porsche, do you need another 5 horsepower?
Yeah.
Talking about that, how fast is it, Sean?
Yeah, so this car was fitted with the Porsche Sports Chrono package, which includes a launch control function. It also had the 7-speed PDK gearbox. Now, this affects the 0 to 100 time quite dramatically. A standard manual car will do it in 4.6 seconds, the sprint from 0 to 100. This car actually does it in 4.2 seconds.
Wow.
And it will go on to a top speed of 290 kilometers an hour. And I think that's quite impressive for what is essentially an entry-level 911.
Interesting stuff. And what does this car cost?
So when it was launched, it was about 1.55 million rand, and I've checked on Auto Trader. There's a few listed with very low mileage for that similar pricing. So really good value for money performance car at this stage of its life cycle.
Well, for a Porsche, I suppose 1.5 million.
It's actually pretty decent. I mean, the Turbo S is my favorite Porsche right now, and I think that's like a ridiculous price tag. So 1.5 for pretty much a brand new Porsche. It's a steal.
Yeah, so that's I think the idea behind this car is those who aspire to own a Turbo S or even a GT3 or a GT2 RS, this is a good entry point into the 911 range. It's not going to absolutely break the bank. I mean, it's the price of essentially a small performance saloon or hatchback these days with some options, and it gives you that nice entry point into the Porsche brand.
Now, what kind of person do you need to be to consider this car? Are you a young boy racer? Are you a older drivers type person? What kind of person are you that would consider a Porsche Carrera T?
I think if you are absolutely obsessed with the Porsche GT cars like the GT3 RS, just the standard GT3 or even a GT2 RS, this is going to appeal to you because it's literally 1/3 of the price of those cars. And it gives you that similar, it's a sort of watered down version of those really high performance track day special Porsches. So I think a younger person that aspires to one day own one of those high end GT Porsche products.
Does it look like the high end Porsche product, and is it just the speed in the engine that's slightly turned down?
It's so this is actually going to be one of the last narrow body Porsche models. I'm sure if you look at a Turbo S or a GT3, they've got those wide rear arches. This car is still one of the last 911s with the narrow body, so it doesn't look quite as aggressive as the GT models and the Turbo S's of the world. But it's still, these cars all cut that sort of iconic 911 silhouette. So I think if you can live with the fact that it doesn't look quite as aggressive, you're going to save yourself quite a bit of money.
I say, 1.5 million versus what, 3, 4, 5 million, right?
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And did you enjoy driving because you've driven a few Porsches, Sean, did you enjoy driving the Carrera T?
I did, yes. Straight after that, I swapped into something a little bit more exotic, also from Porsche, but maybe we'll chat about that some other time.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it from a daily driver perspective, and I think that's what has made the 911 so successful during its lifetime, is the fact that it's a sports car that can be used every day. It's not this unobtainable, uncomfortable, loud car that you have to keep in the garage for a Sunday. It's something that if you want to, you can drive it every day. And I think the Carrera T really epitomizes that, because it is, one of the cheaper Porsche products, and it's more basic in terms of its interior and exterior. I think it really is the everyday man's Porsche.
Okay, well, there you have it. Our very own Sean Nurse. Thank you, Sean, for joining us and giving us the rundown of the Porsche Carrera T, which is not quite the GT, but is the T. That's close enough for me. Thank you, Sean, and enjoy the rest of your time in Benoni.
Thanks, George. It's been great. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So there you have it from Sean Nurse, the Porsche Carrera T. Would you buy the Porsche Carrera T, Wendy?
Well, you see, okay, the answer is twofold, right? So one of my dream cars is the Cayman. I've been looking at it and looking on Auto Trader to find it really cheap. Yeah, like a Cayman S. And they're priced really well. And they hold their value quite well. So that would kind of be my
And they're quick.
And they're quick,
They're
right?
very quick, because they've got a smaller body.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, it's either that or an M2 or something, but I love the Cayman S. And this, I think, for me right now, no, it's not for me. But just because of my age, really, more than anything else. The Cayman is kind of my dream Porsche.
Lovely.
At this moment, yeah.
What color would you go for?
Black or white. Black or white. Yeah.
Okay.
Black with black rims or white with black rims.
White with black rims.
That's my dream sort of spec for any car. Really. Yeah.
Well, that's the Porsche Carrera T. If you want to go and have a look at it, go to autotrader.co.za and you will find the Porsche Carrera T. And, getting into the next couple of questions, Wendy, you have a few consumer questions. Every week we dig into askautotrader.co.za, or should I say autotrader.co.za/ask, and we try and answer some consumer questions. What is the first question you have?
So the first question comes from a gentleman or a lady, I'm not sure, named Sandwich, not sure. It's hard spelling. But
XCYGMEEJ, yeah?
That's the one. Okay. That's what I said. He or she asked, what gives you the best bang for your buck in 2020? It's a tough question.
That's interesting. That's a tough question. I mean, I think all round you can find some good deals out there.
Yeah,
depending on your budget. So, if you're referring to a new car and sheer speed, best bang for your buck is the Golf GTI.
Yeah, no surprise there.
That's why
it's one of South Africa's favorite cars.
Exactly. Best bang for your buck. It's a quick car. It's not faster than the Tesla, but it's fast. And there's a nice balance between power and performance. You get the performance up there with some sports cars. And, if you go further up, I suppose you could go for the Toyota Supra.
Yeah, I know a few people who've driven it, and they say that, I mean, what you pay for and what you get, worlds apart. It's a complete monster. So I believe that answer.
Or maybe even the BMW M2.
Yes, always BMW, all the BMW fanboys.
Well, yeah, the M. The iconic M started with the M3, right? And the M5.
Yeah, I mean, long history in South Africa. We still love them. They just make brilliant cars.
And if you're looking for a used car, I'd say maybe the Audi RS3.
So yeah, I mean the RS3 is ultimate all-rounder, I think. In terms of safety as well, that quattro system is just
corner.
It will save your life. If you can't drive. So yeah, I agree with that.
Or a used BMW M.
I agree with that more.
I knew it. All right. What's the next question there, Wendy?
Okay, Vossi asked, the new Polo Vivo does not have a temperature gauge. Is that a concern?
Interesting. Well, why? Focus on the road, not the temperature gauge. That's my first answer. But let me put your mind at ease. The many cars don't have a temperature gauge. You'll be surprised. Many cars don't have a temperature gauge. They've merely got an overheating warning light. Because whether your car's running at 90 degrees or 100 degrees, why would you want to know that?
Yeah, you really don't, unless it's overheating.
Yes.
I think cars run hot anyways, and depending on the vehicle, it's going to run hot anyway. So 120 degrees in one car is not the same as the next. I think it's more important if it tells you that it's overheating.
Yeah. So I mean, most cars, I reckon the water temperature runs at about just under boiling point.
Yeah. It's under 100, yeah.
So about 100 degrees. And you don't really need a temperature gauge. You just need something that tells you it's overheating. Well, if it is overheating, if that warning light comes on, stop the car.
Just stop it.
Stop.
What do you do actually in that scenario? You just stop.
Switch your car off.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it can't generate heat if the engine's not turning, right?
That's true, right?
So limit the damage. Stop the car and stop the overheating, because you might just save your engine if you stop the car. And then we've got a third question.
Yeah, so the last question is from Fritz. And he asked, does the listed price of new cars on AutoTrader include VAT?
Interesting question, Fritz. Yeah. So in terms of the VAT Act, if it's not particularly excluded, prices include VAT.
Okay.
And that goes for cars.
It doesn't say excluded.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then prices naturally have to include VAT. So the last time I checked anyway, but prices have to include VAT, and on AutoTrader they definitely include VAT unless otherwise specified, but that's not the case. All the prices include VAT, and that also doesn't include, though, any other specific charges or finance charges that you might incur.
Well, I think that's kind of a very important point.
Yes.
Is that it's, it may include VAT, but there may be
maybe other charges.
Other charges that you need
you just think about and ask about, and they're not underhanded charges either.
Yeah, it's not like they hidden charges.
Yeah.
They're kind of known if you know that this is kind of, I'm buying a car, I need to take these in consideration.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Well, it's been epic, Wendy. Great to have seen you in the flesh.
In the flesh.
This doesn't look like my house.
On my four walls.
All my four walls, exactly. Well, that has brought us to the end of another Auto Central show. My name is George Mini, and I'm joined every week by Wandile Sishi. Yeah. And this has been Auto Central, powered by Auto Trader. See you next time.
Sounds good.